So how do you support your spouse? That's what we're going to be talking today in our show. I'm Jess, and we are JD and Jess. Great. So in today's episode, or whatever we're calling it.
He called it it.
Okay. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to support your spouse, or partner, or whatever your relationship looks like. Ours is a marriage. And
Partnership.
it is. It really is a partnership. And so today I thought it would be really cool to talk about supporting each other. And sometimes I think within that framework, that can actually be a hard conversation for some. I know at multiple parts of our relationship, multiple points of our relationship, it has been. We've walked through some interesting things, and I would say supporting each other in those times didn't look like this, like picture perfect. Like when you think of supporting someone, it didn't look pretty,
Right.
I think. And so I want to kind of dive into that.
Absolutely. And it's supporting your spouse, supporting your partner. We're going to talk about marriage. Supporting your spouse in a marriage. A lot of people say, oh, it's 50-50. If it's 50-50, then you're not giving your all. We'd like to say it's 100-100.
Yeah.
Right. And we have learned something. Go ahead. And then want to talk about that.
I was just going to say, and I said it in one of our previous shows, there are some days that I can't show up and give 100. And that's why it's a partnership, because he understands that. And maybe for each other, we're okay with liking that a little bit. Mm-hmm. But for our children, for just making a home go, we can't show up and only give, I only have 15% left. They deserve the whole 100.
Yeah.
So then he would make that up, or on his, off days, I would make that up. And so that's where the partnership and understanding each other and supporting each other.
That's understanding the 100% versus 50-50%. It's very important that you have each other's backs in these partnerships, because that is complete support.
Yeah.
Right. You want to really know if you truly support your spouse, ask your kids.
Yeah.
Ask them how they feel about it. You think mommy does a good job at supporting your dad?
Yeah.
You think daddy does a good job at supporting mommy?
Or how do you, for the younger ones, how do you see mommy help daddy, or how do you see daddy help mommy?
Yeah.
And
they will be brutally honest.
They will.
They will be brutally honest. And it's use your kids, if you have kids as a married couple, use your kids as a source to find out what you are doing right, what you are doing wrong. So something that I think would be interesting to talk about right now is so personally, I believe one of the main components of supporting a spouse is knowing them, right? So my biggest one would be communication. Yeah.
But I have to know you enough to know whenever you're not communicating what my role is, right? And so, but what happens, like in that, what happens whenever I don't feel safe to communicate with you, or you don't feel safe to communicate with me? I know that we have had times in our marriage where you thought that if you brought something to my attention, I would flip it back on you, which was a trait that I had to work through for sure and heal so that I could be a better spouse.
Definitely, it was a trait you had. It definitely has.
In supporting your spouse, knowing them and enough so that whenever you can't communicate what I'm supposed to do, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm talking right now in the day-to-day, but then there have been times in our relationship where I'm supporting you in a job, or I'm supporting you in our separation. I'm supporting you in the other ways. I'll say, like, for him specifically, there have been jobs where, and not so much careers, but specific jobs where his mental health was not okay. Yeah. And for me, sure, the man is supposed to be the, provider and all that, biblically. But knowing where he was and where the health of our home would be if he was in such a dark place, I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
I will support you. I'll back you up on that. And I will have the meetings with, the bosses and all of that, because in those times, that was what you needed.
And that's important support right there. It's like, literally, we've done this. We've done these things where, there's been plenty of times where I'm just like, just quit. And I don't need you being out of the house. I see how much you're struggling mentally. I see how you're trying to figure out life between kids, family, and work.
Yeah.
Right now, I can completely financially support us 100%. Just quit your job. We'll be okay.
Yeah.
She doesn't do it. She loves her job. But that is support, right? Like being able to say, I can do this because I need you healthy mentally.
Yeah.
If your spouse is not mentally healthy as well, you're going to run into some problems. So, and again, we have to understand, and hopefully that's the last time I say that word. You have to understand that we understand not everybody has the capabilities of saying, just quit your job.
No, sure.
We understand that. We're just explaining from our standpoint of how we've been able to, just like she said, she'll figure it out. Now, as a man of house, I wouldn't allow that to happen. Never allow that to happen.
I wouldn't.
But she is willing to step in and figure out what she needs to do to allow me to get into a mentally good space so I can be the person that I need to be as a father and a husband.
Yeah. And, I would say too, figuring out because a marriage will struggle if both people aren't healthy, right?
Absolutely.
And something that you and I both agree on very, very much so, we're very aligned on, is you need to be mentally, physically, and spiritually healthy. The trifecta. And you notice whenever I'm struggling in one of those areas and you push me in those, or you support me. And sometimes pushing is support.
Yeah.
There have been times where a job wasn't jiving with you, and I'm going to grab your hand and we're going to pray through it, and I'm going to figure out how else to support you, because quitting in that time wasn't the right call.
Yeah.
So knowing each other well enough to know what the other one needs.
Absolutely. And support also looks like, you're still raising each other. You really are, right? When you get married, you're growing together and you're raising each other. And not an aspect of she's a child, I'm a child, but we're teaching each other things that we can be better at. Like, we're pulling those things out. So
we're good mirrors.
Yes. So for instance, she wanted to go back to school full time. And I'm 100% all about it. Mind you, again, I'm all about it. Mind you, the job situation was something I'm just like, push it behind you, do everything else. She didn't want to do it. So I had to stay continuously supportive of how she feels about her career on top of what she wants to do in her college, going the route she wants to take for college. So supporting means she's going to go to school. She's going to have time away. And it's understanding that when she's gone or when she's home, I have to be the person that makes sure that I am the one doing the dishes. I am the one cooking the dinners if it needs to be. I am the one making sure that when she has homework, that I'm keeping the kids from going nuts in the household, because it's hard. It is hard. They want your attention. They want mommy's attention.
And they seem
200%
to want it more whenever you're busy.
Yeah.
Like at the, real chill times of the house, they don't care about you at all.
But that's important. It's like, as a man, allowing your spouse to want to pursue a higher education and a job that could potentially make you a stay-at-home dad, that'd be great for me. I'm just saying, it doesn't mean you're still not the spiritual leader of the house, but
I have a question for you.
Being able to do something like that is very important, because you supporting your spouse in that situation is going to fall back. And we always talk about generations.
Yeah.
It's going to fall back on your children. They're going to see how well you did as a spouse, allowing your significant other to do something that they felt like they loved and hopefully achieve and accomplish that goal, which means your kids are going to see, hey, if I do this, my mom and dad are going to be behind me. You want them to be able to see the support within the entire family. They see you supporting your spouse, they're going to know you support them.
Yeah.
That's a pretty awesome thing to have when your kids know you're going to do that as well.
Well,
ask me the question.
Good, I will. Good marriage traits, that just made me think. Good marriage traits minister to your children, minister to family members, minister to, other people around you. We have, married people in our life that have been married longer than us, and then, others that have not. And there are many things about our marriage that they would love to mirror, because they see the health in those practices. And then vice versa. We see younger married couples, we see older married couples, and we want, hey, they do this really well. This is something they do, and it ministers to us, and that teaches us. The question that I had was, does support and agreement, are they synonyms? Are they the same?
No.
You don't have to agree to support.
What do you mean agree to support?
So,
Give me an example.
Okay, college.
Mm-hmm.
If I needed to completely put work behind me so that I could pursue college, and I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't in agreement with that.
Correct.
But you still supported me.
100%.
And I can think of a billion times that I didn't agree with you.
And you still support me.
I still supported you.
Yeah, so they're not synonymous. They're not.
No.
Go together. Agreement. You guys.
Agreement, yeah. You can support your spouse without agreeing with them.
And if you hear a baby in the background, it's because he's mad. It's nap time. Kind of. It's a little early. But he's mad that he's not in the show. So.
You might end up being here in a minute.
He'll eventually be in the show. Yeah, it's definitely not synonymous. You have support. Sometimes support doesn't come with an agreement at all. Like, at all.
I know.
So, but supporting is what it needs to be done for things to be healthy. Supporting your spouse will make life healthy. Listen, I would much rather have her be mentally stable because of my support versus her being mentally unstable, sad, upset, feeling like I didn't have her back because I didn't support her.
Yeah.
I would much rather all of that versus, 100% agreement on things. Because even 100% agreement doesn't mean support, because agreeing on something completely just means that we're both compromising.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
So, something too is like, whenever you say, hey, I need your support, or I need you, even if he just says, I need you, my ears perk up. And I'm like, okay, this is a way that I can bless my spouse. This is a way that I know there is a need, literally, that needs to be filled. And in that moment, I don't know right away how I can help you or support you, but I'm going to figure it out, by golly, because that you just communicated a need.
Yes.
And sometimes he doesn't have like a whole 1, 2, 3 step of how I can help. Sometimes he just needs me to say, yeah, I got your back.
Yeah. Yep.
And sometimes he doesn't even get to see how I'm supporting. Can I talk about this?
Come over everyone.
Okay.
That's what the show's for. Transparency.
So we were in a...
What's separation?
So we were in a forced separation because of some legal circumstances.
I got arrested, y'all.
And more. So, and that whole time...
Listen, hold on real quick.
Okay.
Listen, I'm infamous. So if you're watching this and you know me, you already know what we're talking about. If you don't know me, just Google Jesus Rivera.
Oh, gosh. So we were in a forced separation because of legal purposes, and support in that time looked a lot like making sure he had what he needed as far as funds, making sure that whenever he got back, our kids had a great relationship with him and that there were no gaps. Like, I mean, you came back and the kids had no resentment and they had, and that was work. That was hard work, making the household still go. I have a lot of regrets from that time frame. And we can totally talk about that in another segment. But in that time, support didn't look normal.
No.
But it became, I had to support him by being essentially a single mom. And that sucked. But our marriage grew from that, and it was team building.
Yeah, and unfortunately for me, I didn't have the capabilities of supporting her at all.
Yeah.
I was sitting in a federal
I
prison.
disagree.
Emotionally, it's not worth
You
it.
had prayers,
Yeah.
your letters. I mean,
I did everything I could.
yes.
And that makes sense. That's good to say. That's good to say because support doesn't always look the same in every situation.
It doesn't.
But I was writing as much as I could. Whenever she would write, every single day. Well, when we finally were able to make phone calls,
Yeah.
every single day, I called her, and we spoke, even if it was for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was times where I only had 2 or 3 minutes left, and we talked.
Absolutely.
But every single day. And that was the most, it was good for me, and that was the most I could support her in situations where she can at least hear that I was doing fine when I was doing fine, or vice versa. Sent her a picture one time for her birthday. Sent it to her. I did a little.
It was like a precious moments thing on like some linen, which was so cool. I mean,
The things you got to figure out.
they're creative.
But I did everything I could, the best I can, even emails, speaking when we can. Obviously the support is extremely different
Yeah.
because I can't really speak on what she went through when she was out here. I still don't really have 100% grasp on it. I can only imagine because for me in prison, that's really easy because I didn't have any responsibilities.
Yeah.
I had to wake up, do my thing, and go to bed. Eat 3 meals a day if I wanted to, kind of thing. So there were no responsibilities. I had no access to any of
Got a vacation,
That's really fun.
Just I can finally say that without any bitterness. A lot of healing here.
Again, I just don't. People don't understand how different it is. Like I get, the person's in prison or jail for this long. And unless you're a complete dirtbag, your prison or jail sentence is going to be horrible for you as a person. However, there are no responsibilities on you as a human being when you're incarcerated.
Yeah.
You don't pay any money to anybody. If you have child support, you no longer pay child support. Like nothing, you have no responsibilities. So if people want to pretend they have responsibilities when in prison, it doesn't happen. So all of those responsibilities fall on who?
Right.
An individual that's or sitting,
or a parent or your landlord or whoever you've left behind, which in our situation was me.
you and the kids.
But I wouldn't allow it to land on my kids.
Right. And let's go to that again real quick. We talk about this a lot. We have kingdom-minded friends.
Say that one more time.
Kingdom. We have kingdom-minded friends that were also in full support of what needed to be done for our kids and my spouse while I was away.
Mm-hmm.
The dads, my 2 best friends, Austin and Jason, they stepped in.
They had to step in with the boys more than once, that's for sure.
But they did it, right? They knew, hey, my buddy's in prison. We're not going to let these kids act a fool because they don't have their dad on. We're going to step in because they listen to them. They're uncles. That's what they call them, Uncle Jason, Uncle Austin. And this is why these people are our best friends, because they are kingdom-minded. but they also know what it takes to help out a family and support
Yeah.
a family when a family needs support. And it's what we do. It's vice versa. We take care of each other all the way around. Going back to us, the support was extremely different, but the support stayed there.
Yeah.
And it's something to be thankful for and grateful for, because I could tell you when I was sitting in prison, there's so many times, a good buddy of mine, Kevin, his wife left him,
Yeah.
came to a visit, and divorced him inside the visitation.
Well, and this actually brings up a really good, point. You might be sitting there and thinking, well, my spouse can't support because of XYZ, right? He did the best he could, but he didn't look like the support I had normally got from him and the support I got from him outside of this. But first of all, we made a covenant, and that is very important to us. So whether he gave that support or not, we were going to get through that because we both believe that.
And understand this, a covenant supersedes a marriage certificate.
Yeah, it's not a contract. It's not it is, but it is more than that. You've made a binding agreement between you and the Lord. And so that is important, right? So I am choosing to see the support that he was able to give me instead of nitpick what he couldn't do for me. I can't do that. But there are marriages where they can't. But think about it as like a bank, right? Throughout our marriage and our relationship, we're making these deposits of support of, what our nature is. I know your nature. You are a good man, and you are good to me, and you love me. And so even in those times, if you had no money to be able to send me letters, if you had no funds to be able to call me with, I still knew what your heart was because of your nature and everything that you've shown me. So then I can pull on the deposits, and we don't go in the negative from our marriage bank. So, and that's why the importance of the support when you can get it, it's
important.
It's high.
And listen, if you hear the word support and the first thing you're thinking about is monetary, you're wrong.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You are 100% wrong.
Not once have I actually said that word right now.
You directly in the camera and tell you that if when you hear the word or the term support and the first thing you think is money, you need to fix the way you think about things. Because before you came into this marriage, I'm hoping before you went into a marriage with somebody, it wasn't about money.
Yeah.
It was how that individual supported you as an individual, as an independent person before becoming married, knowing those people. That's what the support is, right? How are we going to maintain this? Monetary comes in after the fact. If you came into the situation, into a marriage, knowing that both of you guys suck financially,
yeah,
but you guys love each other, that you guys enjoy being around each other, you guys have each other's back when it comes to arguments with other people, stuff like simple things like that, that's support.
Yeah.
There was no money to begin with.
Yeah.
Now, if you're coming into it expecting someone to just support you financially, you're only thinking with just your physical brain, right? You're not thinking anything spiritually. You're not thinking anything physically at this point. It's all just, it's greed. It's very greedy. It's very selfish to think that support is only financial. So it's important you guys understand that, because there's a lot more to it. Because you came into this marriage, most likely, especially this day and age, you came into a marriage when it wasn't about money. So when you married that person and you decided, all right, we're in this together, 100,
Yeah.
100,
That
100,
part.
then you understand that it wasn't about the finances. So remove that from your equation, because finances are the one thing that's going to make everybody struggle, fortunately.
Yeah.
But just hear me out when I say that. You know the word support, don't think financials, don't think monetary. It's there, it's part of it. But there's other things that come with support.
And And that's why I brought up the bank, marriage bank, because intentions are so important, right? I have to know you and your intentions to know that, what your support is going to look like, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I'll be honest, not one time have I said the word support in this and thought monetary, not once. I talked about monetary just because of that's part of life. But there have been times.
Well, to toot my own horn, I feel like you'd have it, and I do believe that when you say support, you don't think monetary. I feel I've done an amazing job
Yeah.
at taking care of us children.
I was just about to say that. And yes, shoot that word. So, but that is something, that I can call you and say, hey, I really want this, or I really need this, and I'm gonna do it. And I try really hard not to be a selfish person, which is why I talk to him first. Not because he makes me.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always, that's financial talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
But but it is, again, that goes into my support of her,
Yeah.
right? There's certain things that she wants because she likes to feel good. She likes to feel like a woman. She likes to feel a certain way. She likes to pamper herself. If I could support it, I'm going to. Why? Because I want her to feel good in her own skin. I want her to feel good physically, naturally, spiritually. I want her to feel those things again, because those are the things that help push someone forward. And it's not like you do it every day or every week, and it's not an expectation.
Right.
It's not an expectation.
And that's kind of a really good point, though, because, we push each other, and that's where the pushing part of support comes in, right? I push you to be a better you for personal growth. Personal growth is so important to a marriage. You need to be healthy.
Yeah.
You need to be healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, period. If he's not been in the Word and spending time with the Lord, I know. If he's not doing right physically, I know. And mentally, I know. There was one day we were doing a walk, and we were talking about an event, and I asked you what outfit you have that makes you feel like, the best. Like, that makes you feel sexy or cute, and you were like, I don't do that. And I'm like, you don't, you're like, I don't feel like it. And I'm like, it broke my heart. Like, so it has been my mission since then to help him figure out what makes him feel good, because he needs to feel good. He's worked so hard for the body and beyond that, the labs that he gets from his doctor. And so for him to walk out, I will say, you really feel yourself after a haircut.
Mm-hmm. I don't look like a bum.
After it was that girl's he doesn't look like a bum, but he does, and I love that. I love that about him. But yeah, so we work on pushing each other in personal growth and personally, so that our marriage can thrive. Whenever you put two healthy people together, what are they going to create? Health.
Listen, if you look at my childhood pictures and my high school pictures and my Marine Corps pictures, you understand why I've never cared about a fit. I've thrown whatever on just because I want to throw it on. That's always been my thing.
And that's great. I love that you're confident to do that. But also, there are times that you should feel sexy because you are sexy.
That's what she says. That's how she feels.
That is how I feel.
That's how she feels. I've seen it. And that's good for me. I like that she goes that way with me. That's support.
I literally told him to throw away a pair of shorts yesterday because they were too long and they didn't show off his quads, because he does gorgeous.
They're good, man.
They're good.
We're making things work.
So yeah, supporting for the individual instead of, not just the marriage, right? We've talked about things that support marriage, communication, dating, but supporting in a personal sense and individual growth makes healthy people.
Yes.
The next question I want to ask is, how important would you say prayer is for supporting and uplifting and pushing your spouse?
Prayer, as I've come to know within my walk, has been the most important thing to do as a couple, an individual, in support of your spouse. She knows this, and I tell everybody all the time. Again, we can go back to prison. I would always say, I need you to pray for me.
Yep.
I need you to pray for me. And it doesn't matter what I was feeling, what was going on. She has always been what I consider my prayer. You hear about prayer warriors all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about it that when she prays, I hear from God. More clear than I normally do, especially in those types of situations. And those times when she would pray for me, it would put me at ease. It would put me in a better headspace. It would put me in a like I knew there was going to be a good ending to either the day or my sentence. Because there was a lot of tough times. In prison, there's a lot of tough times, and you have no control of what's going on. Yeah. But even outside of prison, she's still the person that I truly want to pray for me all the time. Her prayers, she doesn't see it the way I do, and that's, neither here nor there. Yeah, I tell her all the time, the way she speaks, she has this gift of words. She's able to communicate a lot. She says I communicate well, I understand that, but it's a difference in the way that she talks, she says things. She puts words together very well. That's why she's going back to college. And I stumble on words. I stumble on what to say. And you can really hear it. For me, when she prays, I can really hear it. That I can feel the Holy Spirit. I hear God, double works. So it's extremely important that praying for your spouse, even when you're mad at your spouse or upset with your spouse, is one of the most important things to do, because it's going to ground you.
Yes.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. It'll humble you very quickly.
Yeah. Well, and it softens your heart. So I'll bring up the example of Saturday. Saturday, something came up that was probably a nasty part of our past. And we were having some friends coming over, and I was not in a good headspace. And this goofball had the audacity to take a nap. And I'm over here struggling mentally. Huh? You took a nap, man. And it was a good one. Michaela even came and laid up.
What was that saying?
Yes, and okay. So I'm in here, struggling. I've got my headphones on and I'm cleaning and I'm preparing food and I'm, struggling all by myself. Just me and Jesus. And we go outside. He wakes up and we're preparing, for our friends to come over, and we go outside in the front yard and I'm like, hey, I just need a couple of minutes with you. And with the kids playing all around us and the baby, sitting with us in the grass, I just, we started talking and had a harder conversation. And it ended with me asking you to pray for me. Your heart was softened already, and I was feeling frustrated, but also, honestly, probably some hurt. Yeah. Just because of what was brought up. And so, his words not only softened me, but it helped us to kind of get back on the same page of, we're okay, we're in this together, we're a team. And I think sometimes what we do as spouses is we think about whenever there's a fight or something hard, something trivial, it's almost like us versus them, right? Me versus you. And instead of thinking it's us as a team versus the problem versus the conflict. That the conflict doesn't have to be here in the middle of us. It's us against the conflict together. And so I think in that moment of you praying for me, it helped me to see that is where we are. And it was great to know within your prayer that that's where you were. You were staying next to me. You weren't against me.
Mm-hmm. It's taken a while for me to get to the place where I can pray for us. Like, there was times where she would like, can you pray? I'm like, no, I'm not praying right now. You pray. Because I was being spiteful.
Yeah.
Right? But there's a difference when your spouse asks you to pray and you feel like you're the one being attacked. But that's the perfect moment. That's the main time where you should be praying. Because if you feel like you're being attacked, you are. It's not by your spouse.
Yeah.
By the devil.
Yeah.
So you should pray at that moment if you feel like it. Those times when you are asked to pray for your spouse and you don't feel like praying, there's a reason. There's a reason that the enemy is telling you not to pray. Because your prayer is going to be the most powerful thing to heal whatever's going on in that situation.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
Do the exact opposite. When you don't feel like praying for your spouse at that moment, pray for your spouse. Pray for you first. Lord, help me hear. Lord, help me put myself in my spouse's shoes. Help me to gather my thoughts. Whatever you need to do. Again, prayer is not hard. A lot of people think there's like check marks that you got to do when you pray. Just talk to the Lord like we're having a conversation right now.
Yeah.
Just talk to him. Lord, I have no idea what's going on right now. Don't know why I'm mad, but I am mad. Fix my heart, fix my head, remove these thoughts, humble me.
Yep.
Just Holy Spirit, be here for me as I say these prayers.
Yeah.
And then go into prayers. Right? I mean, you just prayed for yourself first. No?
And I was going to say that's sometimes a big thing. So the other day, whenever I asked for that specific prayer, you prayed mostly for me, but it wasn't like, Lord, fix her. And, it wasn't like
those prayers, though.
Absolutely. But in that one, the really good one that we're talking about right now, he wasn't like, Jesus, just fix her heart and help her to see the way I'm seeing. Like, no. There have been so many times that we've had to all right, we're holding hands in this, right? Like, Jesus, help me, because I am obviously not doing what is necessary in my part of the marriage, right? And then you pray for your spouse, right? For, whatever the case may be in that moment. For me, it was that I see that we're okay, that he gives me peace, and that he gives me comfort, whatever. He literally prayed, Lord, give her whatever comfort I can give her. And that was a big deal to me because I didn't know what I needed in that moment. I had no idea. I just knew that I didn't feel like we were on the same page, and I didn't like that. And so for you to pray that, it helped me to see this is all, we're all fine. The Lord is here with us and that we are a team. And that's a big deal. But yes, I would say pray for yourself sometimes. Most of the time it's you. Most of the time it's the person who's upset, right? We can't actually fix our spouse. That's their decision.
Yeah.
We can only fix what's happening in us. And so pray for you within the prayer of your marriage and within the prayer of your spouse.
Prayer is amazing. And to close this off, before we finish it up, you want absolute support? Take that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the best support you're ever going to get in your life is to him. That's who we pray to. That's who we call on.
Well, and that's why we try to keep him completely woven into our marriage. I've always heard of marriage as like a braid. You have the three pieces, and it's a lot. stronger than if you were just to twist two pieces of string together, right?
So support is absolutely important, guys. A couple of things, key things. Support isn't always monetary.
Yeah.
Support is prayer. Support is communication. Support is not always something you agree on.
Nope. Not intentions.
Yep. Agreement and support are not synonymous. These are all important things to remember, guys. But the most important thing is to make sure that you are supporting each other
Yeah.
through the thick and thin.
Yeah.
That's it. Support is what is needed to help a marriage thrive.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it. Should probably say bye.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for sitting in and listening to us rant as we normally do. This has been another amazing episode. This was actually good. She's been coming up with all the content ideas lately, so it's been amazing. But yes, thank you guys for still being here and supporting us. Or keyword support. I have Pee Wee Herman in the background screaming, ah, like I did. You old folks know what I'm talking about. Yes, thank you for being here, supporting JD and Jess on this growth journey. And for those followers and everybody else who has been commenting and asking questions, we appreciate it. And we are getting to you as fast as we can when we can in our busy lives. We really appreciate this, and we love that you guys are growing with us, and we love that we're growing with you guys as well.
And I would like to ask, I know at the end of every show, we've kind of asked you like a question of, how, like of just communicating back to us. I want to ask in this one, how can we support you? How can we pray for you?
Yes.
If you will message us, we would absolutely love to come together and agree on whatever it is that you're needing in your life, in your marriage. Let us know.
How can we support you?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, JD and Jess. Till next time. Thanks.
And
To put that baby to
yes.
go help that baby.